So we're going to move on to the new event sanctioning update. So this is specific to while COVID is still around and everything. Basically, what the COVID-19 task force has created is this color ranking system. So this is an effort to evaluate each region, and based off of the vaccination rate and the incident rate of the virus, each region will be designated a color, and the color will say whether or not events can be hosted, or at least can be sanctioned by the NEIGC. And if they are there any safety protocols that we are requiring that you guys put in place? So the levels are black. That means no events can be safely sanctioned at this time in this location in any scenario. So that's kind of what we've been under the whole last year. Due to COVID-19 incident rates and vaccination levels, we really haven't been hosting any meets at all. The tier that we're in right now for most regions, I believe all regions for this month of October, are in the red. So that means that events can be sanctioned for fully vaccinated individuals only, and we're requiring that masks and social distancing are adhered to. The color tier will be announced for November in the next week or so. And our COVID-19 task force looks at the incident rates and vaccination rates for each region based off of the average for each state within that region. So other ranking colors that we may come across are orange. So that means events can be sanctioned for fully vaccinated individuals or individuals with a negative test, a PCR or an antigen test, with masks and social distancing in place. Yellow, events can be sanctioned for fully vaccinated individuals or a negative PCR or antigen test. And green is going to be business as usual. Events can be sanctioned with no restrictions whatsoever. And that's ultimately what we're trying to get towards, but it's dependent on the incident rates within each state and thereby region of COVID-19 and the vaccination rates. So here's just a little description of the actual numbers we're looking at to designate each rank. So right now we're in the red, which means our average incident rate in each region is between 100 and 200. And our average percent of fully vaccinated in the region is under 75%. So this is all sent out in an email with a little memo attached to it. If you guys haven't gotten that email, we can send it again after this town hall. And then you guys can always reference back at this. And I think that is, every region color status will be updated each month based on the average incident rate and vaccination rate for the region. And I think that's it. Are there any questions?
We did have one that came in. They were asking, are there any rules for students that have approved religious exemption forms?
Right now for COVID, for event sanctioning, meaning getting a meet sanctioned by the NEIGC and then attending that meet, right now we do not have any religious exemptions in place. We can also, dependent on the school and the hosting meet club, if the event is not sanctioned by the NEIGC, that question would be more focused and asked to those people if you are able to attend that meet. But as for sanctioned events, we are not having any exemptions.
Another question that came in says, do you currently have any plans for regionals or nationals?
So right now, regionals and nationals, nationals especially, is scheduled to plan per usual. We are hopeful that the incident rates and the vaccination rates for COVID will be good enough in April that will be in the green. That is our hope right now. We do have a contingency plan if in the case it's not good and we need to be in a yellow or orange or red tier. We will have protocols in place at nationals, but we have all intentions of hosting. For regionals, it's going to be more of a question mark up to that region. And you guys will hear more about that closer to the new year. Any other questions?
There was a follow-up to it that says, does that mean that people that have religious exemption forms can't compete in the NAIGC?
At a sanctioned event right now, no.
I mean, based on the wording, really the only scenario in which the religious exemption form would help out with that would be in the red. I mean, if we're in the black, they're not happening anyway. But when it comes to the orange, the yellow, and the green, well, I mean, particularly the orange and the yellow, you're just needing to show that you have a negative antibody or a negative antigen.
Correct.
Yes.
And for the orange tier, masks and social distancing.
Right. So you have those other layers on top, but that's why there are the options. Like it's either fully vaccinated or a negative test in the orange and yellow.
Correct.
It would just be in the case of having an event that was in the red. Another question that came in, can people in other regions compete in a different region? For example, a person from a black region comes to a meet in a green or yellow region.
That is a very good question. And I believe the COVID-19 task force is coming up with some protocols for that. I'd have to refer to their expertise at the moment for that, because that is something that we've noticed that could be an issue moving forward. My first instinct would be to say if somebody's coming from a black region, that they would not be able to compete in a region that has a lower rank system. But again, this is a great question. We can get a memo out regarding that once the COVID-19 task force has come up with an official protocol for it.
Yeah, part of what they were saying within the email and the information to everyone here is that this is very much an evolving and ongoing process as things change and as we get new information. So by all means, everyone continue to pay attention to how things are evolving, and they'll do their best as far as the COVID-19 task force to keep everyone up to date on what the status is with each of the regions.
Yeah, we definitely want to get you guys to meets again. We know it's been hard. We haven't been sanctioning any meets or really hosting anything for the last 2 years. And this is our effort to, make event sanctioning available again, but in a safe manner.
There's another question about regions that said, how were the different regions drawn/chosen? Alaska is geographically far from the West Coast, but is a part of the West Coast region.
It's a very good question. We drew up those lines a very long time ago. I think it was mostly based off of density of clubs within those states. So the reason why the West Coast is such a large region for the NAIGC is because there are not a lot of clubs within those states. And so it wouldn't make sense to have multiple regions that encompass those clubs, because it would only be like 2 clubs per region or less. And that's why the East Coast has a lot more regions. It's based off of club density, NAIGC club density. Any other questions?
Doesn't look like it. Just giving it a second to see if anyone else was going to write in.
Wait, I do have a question. I was not typing quickly enough.
Hi.
Yeah. Hey, because the West Coast now is drawn as such a large region, the dynamics of that makes it so that, like, if there are states with super high incident rates and low vaccination scores, that would bring down the entire region and make it hard for a more for certain clubs in certain places to host meets because of somewhere super far away, right? I see why they were all clumped together, but does it make sense to split them apart a little bit more based on geography?
Yeah, I can definitely bring that to the COVID-19 task force table and see what they can do with that.
Cool, thank you.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Really appreciate everything you guys are doing. This is super awesome. I really, really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, we want to make sure we can be as helpful as possible to our membership, and we really want to make sure people can go back to competing, but in a safe way.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. If you guys have any other questions, and if you're watching this afterwards, either on YouTube or on our website, you can always email info@neigc.org, and we can answer your questions as soon as possible. But with that, I think we are finished for today. Thank you guys so much. Oh, we have one more question.
They asked where can they find the YouTube link?
It'll be posted. So right now it's being recorded right now. And then once we get off this call, I will put it up onto our NAGC YouTube page, but then we can link it into, it'll be linked on our website. You can find it in the bio of Instagram. We'll post it to Facebook. So it'll be easily available.